Tendi, tell me about your project status.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I would like to this month I would like to still focusing on the inquiry optimization,
Okay.
and then video also already give the data like a some what's called possibility data that collected ya video from what's called dialog flow,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, I just need to figure it out like the more, because that's very specific ya, jadi per like a booking and inquiry, and then but we need more like the inquiry optimization category, like which inquiry is like negotiation, and which inquiry is like on-site visit, and then I think for that we need to make a new direct flow ya Vidya for category
Sorry, Kak, about
yes.
the on-site visit or negotiation, I think there is already the intent for that one, if I'm not mistaken.
It's
On-site
already.
visit and
Hmm?
discount, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Try to look at the list of intent. But I believe it's already there for the on-site visit and intent
Okay,
and the
so
discount.
it's possible to what's called to put the data on the Tableau. What do you think?
For that one, actually, we've tried to look at the native connection, but it's not there. So we plan to manually stick it into our backend, but it's under construction.
I see.
Yeah, but it's possible, Kak.
Possible. Okay then. Maybe for more details, I will come to the product development for discussing more. So it's also there is Mas Bayu and then Aldo as well, and you as well, right? So for more details about that. Thank you, Vidi.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, thank you, Tendi, for that update. Actually, let's ask a few questions here before we begin. Let's go to Tendi. Tendi, what sort of progress could you show us in how you've been able to do project management, let's say, better as you've been coming to these classes?
Okay, a moment. Oh yeah. So okay, so actually I think the what's called the bigger training, it's already have a progress because yeah, in the first time before I joined the class, I just do it by myself, and then it's actually taking a long time, and then uh, the what's called it's the progress is slow, but yeah, after I joined this class, it's I learned about the ZPD and then delegation. So yeah, I delegate to Frida and Caroline, and actually the step is more faster, and then I know also I can see also when this project will be done, because it's I what's called I split, because previously I put like four region. Then I would like I need to train to all, but now I split that like Frida. I make the card for the Frida and for Caroline, so I can see their board progress.
Okay.
So and then they also can see their progress. Like for example, like if Frida a week can train like a 5 partner,
Uh-huh.
and then how much Caroline can train. So I know like the skill of their work like that.
Interesting. Okay, all right. So that's this card,
Yeah,
right? Tracking the okay,
yeah,
bigger. So this is a community project then, getting bigger to be used
yeah,
by more partners. Okay,
yeah.
interesting. What about okay over on Wayana side? Hey, babe, welcome in. Thanks for joining. Um, so I think Wayana's still relatively new to this group. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of the things that we've covered already, right? Which is related to
Actually, I have question to Tendi.
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. When you are what you call like training bigger, which part did you train? Like include finance uh, or just in general?
Alright, Bayan, Bo?
When you ask the Caroline and Frida
Mm-hmm.
to train bigger,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of are they training for?
All feature mo. I
All
because
people.
yeah, before I train, of course I show them the how to train first. So
Mhm.
so I train one partner and then tell them to join first. I show them how to train, and then also I make the material like which what we need to explain, and then the video as well. So they watch the video, and then on the video of the bigger training, that's I explain it all from the dashboard, and then review everything, and then the guest
Mhm.
check in and everything.
Oh, I see. Okay. Um, because in the finance, some partner doesn't get that as well. So just make sure. Maybe if where can I find the list?
Well, I think it's this is for the staff, not the for the owner. The owner is the staff doesn't see the finance, right?
Ah,
This is for
okay.
the guest check-in, so yeah, reduce the asking for the check-in.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay, okay. It's clear now because I wonder if it's like everything being trained in there. So in the finance I don't know, but if that the case, that means finance person still have to train how to use the finance dashboard. Then okay, clear. Then thank you.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at some of these questions before and see if we actually have any solutions for them or if we've executed them in practice. So, I think one of the things that we were really stuck on in project management is this aspect of delegation and how to delegate well. So, Tendi talked about previously a Hanover bottleneck. The responsibility of the delegating is still slow, and sometimes seniors need to be called in. And then we talked about this whole idea of understanding bandwidth of a person that is being delegated to, and even using this concept such as story points, which we spoke about with Thomas Arendt a few days ago, actually, in one of our professional networking sessions. Um, so it seemed from the takeaway video, if I'm not mistaken, the technique I felt like was more advanced than we're capable of at the moment. Since just implementing that technique will require, I think, more training just to estimate bandwidth. So I feel like sometimes in that particular one, I'm not sure actually. Let me bring it up for discussion. Should we use story points actually as a way of measuring bandwidth? And then Riesel mentioned this thing about sometimes we're being delegated things that exceed our bandwidth, and we came up with this idea of office hours for individuals and chunking up the calendar. Okay, so that was a little bit of what we had discussed the previous time, and then the current time is about ZPD. The most recent time was how do we actually um, kind of delegate well, need to measure ZPD, assess the SLAs, and then take this to gradually progress the person that we're delegating to on that. Let me go to Tendi. Tendi, is there any structure currently that we have already that would simplify this process of delegation for you?
So yes, sir. In community, we make the job description like or like a internal SLA like every task or project what skill that we need, and then what is the attributes. So actually it's easy to understand like okay, so this task or this project we need the person like have this skill, and then what is the result from this project, and then we can assign the person actually like okay, do you have the for example the negotiation skill? Okay, if you have, then you can do this task or project. So actually yeah, easier. And then if for example like you can do, but you not really understand, then you can delegate up, so you can get the assist from the senior or the person that mostly know about that strategy or something. And
Mhm.
then if you really understand about that, then you can delegate down and then like tell the, because you know everything. So for example, like me, for the bigger training, so I know about that, and then I fluent to do that. Then I make the material, I make the video and everything. Then I delegate to the person that can follow that work actually.
Okay, excellent. Let's take a look at this. So I just found the community KPIs and SLAs, and let's let's think about if this is complete, right? So this itself is kind of a project. This is a project to help us do other projects, right? So we can delegate better. Let's ask ourselves, what's the intent of this project? What problem does it solve? Okay, so I think it solves one of the problems of being able to delegate and being able to hand over, let's say, certain things, and helps us sort of. It should help us measure ZPD, and it should be, let's say, perfect enough where the the person being delegated to has a very clear idea of what's needed there. So I guess this would be the test then. Tendi, if you just gave this row to a new person, do you think that they would be able to do a good job yet? You just said,
Uh, uh, Sorry. Okay. I think this is not for the work, sir. This is like okay. I know where I will work, but for the uh for the work itself, like if you say like I'm sure that they can work with this. It's like I need two more details, like the workflow of this project or something. If there's a new member, right? If you say that's a new member, so I need to create like a flow or something that can guide them to do that.
okay. How about would that sound like a good idea to add a training?
Uh, Training, yes,
And
training or pairing,
And then the
training.
workflow can just go maybe into a document and just describe what the workflow is, and then boom, right
Yeah.
away out there. Okay, okay, that could be an idea. So that we could just say, all right, the end user experience is what I'm thinking is you just show the person essentially what it looks like. Okay, just follow this bar, right? This is the job description. These are the skills you need. These are the attributes. These are the KPIs. This is how you know if you're doing a good job. This is how you measure the progress of your work. And here's your training material, and I am your trainer. And then essentially the entire flow is sort of done there. Okay, let's go over to double check. What do you think about that? Oh, baby, read it.
I think it's easily visualized for new people as well for this way because like and then when they see like the job description, skill, attribute, oh, and then they might like help them understand themselves. Where am I? You know, like and then where need to go if this happen. It's very clear, even for new person to understand what is going on in each chapter actually and what's the mission.
Okay.
And then I think it's a good start actually.
Okay, interesting. Vidi, I'm trying to figure out how many columns to add to this, yeah? Because we've done a few of these all sort of independently, and there's kind of like a different format depending upon what chapter it is. So let's say, for example, marketing. If you look at their SLA, it has a similar format, except it has also a few more columns, right? So marketing has controls, like things that they activate. They have input, output, skill. The job description isn't done yet. Delegate down, delegate up, training material, SLA, success ratio. So there's sort of like this success ratio, which is our primary way. Hey, welcome in, Cynthia. Our primary way of determining if, let's say, the
Morning, Cynthia.
CPD of this person is fully utilized. If we see that they're able to improve their success ratio, then that would indicate that they are competent and probably within ZPD. If they are not able to move their success ratio, that would probably mean that they are not competent and not inside their ZPD. So I think that's a objective tool. But over to Vidi, I was thinking this is still missing something. What do you think it is, Vidi?
Mm. What first? What kind of uh, thing are you looking for? Like, what's the impact that you're looking for
Ah,
that
okay.
is still missing from this particular table?
Right here, right, which is back on this part of the project management. So, how do we understand the bandwidth before we delegate, and how do we not go into over bandwidth situations?
Oh, okay. Then just define the bandwidth for each level, right? So
Mm.
you must have the, like Atendi mentioned just now, there is the activity, the
Hmm.
list of algorithm to go through,
Hmm.
and each in each algorithm you can specify like what's the allocation of time resource that is
Ah,
at
okay.
least safe enough or minimum or safe enough. Then you know when you're trying to delegate to this person, what's the story or what's the allocation,
Okay.
and see whether they have enough.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
So you make it like three case. Normal case. In a normal case, what would you give the allocation for beginner? What kind of allocation for experts? What kind of allocation?
Yeah. So expert, like two flavors, yeah. So if you're a beginner, this would take X
Yes,
amount of
there are flavors of time budgeting.
time. Okay.
Longer, yes.
Interesting. Okay. And so let's say a beginner. Let's just practice it. See if this clicks. Yeah. Tendy. So let's say how many hours a week, or how many maybe just hours? Yeah. Let's say how many hours a week, right? Would you estimate that this particular role would take as a beginner?
I think 14.
14. Okay. All right. As an expert?
Uh, is it expert more? I think if expert is more quick for the training because they
Right.
know. So I can say like 10 hours.
Okay, 10 hours. Okay. All right. These are just estimates, I guess, just like everything with budgeting or forecasting. It's just what you would expect. Let's say how much time it would take for a beginner or an expert. Okay. So then if we create these time budgets for every service, then that would give us an idea of how to essentially allocate bandwidth then for every service that we want to prioritize. And I think the other thing you can do is also this is actually a cool tool over here because you can also prioritize different services based on an urgency, right? So you can shift the different services up or down based on whichever service is more necessary at the time and allocate your resources correctly. So in a way, it was almost like story points that you have as a team lead, as a chapter lead, you have a total number of hours that you want to put into running all your services. So you kind of need to budget where those hours will go, and you'll need to prioritize which services get, let's say, the most amount of time, and which services can be, let's say, relaxed a little bit. Okay, then basically, uh, from the looks of it, I think we have everything we need then, yeah? So if we do go with this, okay, one last thing. Tendi, who else should we work with to make sure that the people who arrive onto our teams are well prepared for the work that they will be doing?
Or HR
Right. And why is the HR component very important?
because the new people is meet the chapter in the beginning and then setting the schedule for the training and then for the work.
Okay, very good. I want to go into this sort of idea of what is, let's say, the ideal preparation for a candidate, right? So I'll say, like, what is the ideal delegate? Because I think we've had some frictions with that lately. So let's talk about that because it's a leadership issue. Part of it is how well you lead. Part of it is how good the system is, and part of it is how ideal the delegate is too. So it needs to fit, right? The leadership delegate system, they all sort of need to fit around one common thing, and that common thing should be the service, right? That's ultimately what we're producing. That's our product. So we need to talk about, let's say, leadership fit. We need to talk about delegate fit, and we need to talk about system fit. Okay, so let's begin this discussion. Um, Tendi, where do you think is the best way to get delegate fit?
Where or when?
How do we
When?
get the best
How?
delegate fit? How do we get the
Uh,
best fit from the people that we lead?
by understand the ZPD first, and then from looking their CV, maybe like what is their skill, and then what they have been do or did in the previously.
Okay.
So we will understand that person, understanding the person first.
Okay, great. That's a capability fit, right? And that's one level of fit. If they're capable, let's say, but they're not activating their full capacity or their full resources, do you think that will be an easy delegate to lead?
Mm, not too easy.
Okay, so then you need another type of fit. What's the second type of fit that is important?
Mm, time budget for the person
Not
and
quite.
language.
Not
No.
Yeah, remember, why are we all here? Why are we all here at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. in the morning participating in this class? We all care, right? You need
Oh,
to have like a care fit. You need to have some sort of like person who is here for the right purpose. And for that one, it's just simple. It's just like a commitment fit, right? You need to ask for commitment from the person that you're leading. Otherwise, they disappear or things don't work out or when the road gets tough they leave. So we need to make sure that, okay, we need to have this exchange. I'll do this for you, but you'll do this for me back, right? Have that sacred pact. Okay. Then let's talk about the next part. Let's talk to Vidi about this part. All right, Vidi, what about leadership fit? How do we as leaders, what sort of things should we be good at in order to make sure that this relationship works?
There are several factors, such as hard skills on the particular chapter or particular task. There's also the soft skill, whether you have the. Uh, this is actually an interesting question. Do you believe leaders are born or made?
Oh,
Because
oh,
because if there are always there are some paradigms where leaders are they actually have this um, charisma, skill, or innate ability to lead. And some people have that in the beginning, but that could be one factor. But it can also be trained in a sense. But if it's trained, then it's somewhat like you're leading by following, which is paradoxical. But other than that, uh, yeah.
okay.
Other than that, maybe the understanding of
Uh-huh.
the problem solving actually
Problem
is
solving.
very important.
Okay, great.
So it's not part of the skills that you know. Just like what I've mentioned before, you don't have to know the solution, but you have to know how to retrieve the solution.
Okay, all right. That's interesting. Don't have the solution, but need to know how to get there. Okay, all right. Interesting. Um, on this particular hard skills, can I guess that these hard skills should be delegation? I think that's one of the most important hard skills for, let's say, leader. Yeah, or is that a soft skill?
Uh, I thought that's soft skill. Hard skills relates more to factual stuff that you kind of like. For example, like programming,
Oh,
design. That's hard skill.
do you think leaders need to have hard
I
skills?
know that's the definition that I usually use. But soft skills, uh, to some extent, they need to understand the scope because we like in IT, for example, there are some leaders who do not have the hard skill, and it's how do you explain it? Mendo. Uh,
Okay,
it's a pain. It's a pain for even the delegatee.
got it, got it. Okay, interesting then. Okay, so for me, it would always seem I'm trying to think of like let's say Brian, right? Airbnb. He's leading a company where there's thousands of engineers, right, inside that company, and he's never written a single line of code himself. Um, I think it comes back to this idea like you don't have the solution, but you need to know how to get to the solution as a leader. Um, the hard skills part, what I've seen is interesting because I've noticed, like let's say this, right? Um, let's say you had the hardest skill on reservations. You're a great reservation taker. Could you actually still be a good leader for the reservation team? Or let's say you came from a different department. Let's say you came from engineering, right? But you could see systematically how people work together. You could see kind of like all the components of it and how they fit. I've seen better leadership, let's say in the latter case than in the former case, right? Where the hard skill is okay. You take a look at like leadership at like higher levels, like executives, right? And you'll see that they can move from industry to industry to industry to industry. So like they first got started in this industry, but then they got recruited to a different industry, like Uber, Dara Khosrowshahi. I forgot Dara's last name, right? But the CEO of Uber now, he started in Expedia. He was the CEO of Expedia, which is a travel company, and then he got recruited over to Uber, which is mostly a transportation company. Um, Different industry completely, but still able to lead. Um, I felt like, from my experience, the best skill you need to have is you need to have delegation skills. Like if you can't delegate, if you don't know who to listen to or how to like assign tasks or whatever. And delegation, I don't think is a soft skill. I feel like this is actually a real hard skill. That is something that you can get better at. It's methodical, it's systematic. There is a practice to it.
Like
Setting milestones.
optimization.
Yeah. Type of optimization. So,
Yeah,
okay,
it's a part of optimization.
okay. Tell me that again.
So we're seeing delegation as a part of optimization, which is a hard skill.
Okay.
Being able to recognize your resources and place them where it is needed, then that's
Okay.
optimization, which is hard
So
skill.
we can put down optimization.
Then I agree that delegation is hard skill.
All right, great. And part of that is delegation. Oh, can we? Does that seem reasonable? Okay, great. To answer your second question of whether leaders are born or made, I think there's a Chinese saying. It says "乱世造英雄," right? And it's kind of related to my philosophy around leadership. It's chaos creates heroes. So you can't have a hero if there's no chaos, right? Um, and that's what actually we mean by be the hero. Oh my God, that's probably the best sort of phase of how to define that core value. So if you don't have some chaotic situation, you can never really create a hero. So a hero is a person, I think, that emerges from a chaotic solution or a chaos with a solution. So while everybody is losing their mind and not sure where to go, the hero says, "Okay, we're going to go this way." This is essentially the way I see of managing chaos. So in that sense, applied to leadership, I think it's a similar angle that if you're never forced to lead, then will you lead naturally? I guess some people would, but I think most leaders are made when there's a problem. If people just all knew what to do, uh, sort of inherently, then you wouldn't need a leader. It would just be sort of like I guess a movement or something. But when there's ongoing chaos and there doesn't seem to be anything, I think leaders are born out of the people who care the most first, right? So if you care a lot, you're probably going to say, okay, all right, somebody needs to take control of this situation. I'll lead. I'll get involved in this. Okay, let's keep on going. It seems like Vidi froze out a little bit. Let's go to system fit then. Let's go to Wayana. Babe, what do you think system fit means, and how can we get a good system fit? Mute.
Mm, actually, it for me. I think like understanding people CVT first, and then match with the skill or area that they are like confident with.
Sorry, sir, you're muted, sir.
Okay, the question was over to Cynthia. Cynthia, how do we get system fit?
Okay. About the system fit, I think is there any correlation with the attributes that we should have about the living core value? So we're not just know and understand the core values to the purpose, but also living the purpose and living that core values. Rather
Hmm,
my mind. So
okay, got
how
it.
the system works.
All right, so it seems like, okay, there needs to be a purpose fit. Okay, so this is also Cynthia too as well. All right. So, yeah, I think ultimately the system needs to actually do a few things, right? It needs to create the best match between caring and capability. So we need to select and look for, does this person care? Does this person capable? And in terms of measuring if this person will actually fit. But I think part of what the system does is to do that, is to like actually create that awareness that we need to seek this capability fit. And we need to see if this person actually has the right skills that fit to the right role. And then the second part of the system should assess if this person is actually cares enough to actually move that along, move the progression along. Once we have that, then I think then we can actually say, all right, the system fits around because it essentially integrates new people in correctly in a way that both leaders and let's say the person being led can actually fit in. Okay, so if we have that, then essentially, can we then conclude that this could be the solution? That this is the vehicle for where we will get delegate fit, leadership fit, and system fit. So, okay, all right. That's where I kind of want to lead this, but I feel a little bit like, all right, can we actually execute this and practice this on a regular basis? Let's go over to Cynthia. Cynthia, you've got a lot of things right now that I saw that sort of like you're covering. You're covering the entire reservation side, right? And you have your inputs, outputs, you have your, let's say, your time budgets, your skills. Do you have a clear idea of how you would like to delegate as soon as, let's say, somebody arrives to HAR?
Um, yes, sir. Actually, about the reservation, I think we still like divided. I mean, like this still divided per profile between me, Andre, and also and Nadine and Caroline. But for if we talk about delegation for the next intern, I think yeah, there should be maybe about the Facebook inquiry. We could give them to the intern,
Okay.
or yeah, or uh, maybe like the profile of